Welcome back to Q-Dads, it's me, Ste, and episode 8 has just dropped, and it's fair to say we can ignore the first 40 minutes of this episode, with it being absolutely pointless, just like Jade and Jim's conversations, which just seemed to be a complete filler for the episode. So of course, we will be touching on the last part of this episode, which finally confirmed who threw that rope, as well as an abundance of other answers, which was a shock to the system to get them all in such a short time. So let's dive straight in. Before we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because this week we'll be covering Silo as it returns with the first episode of season 2. You're not going to want to miss our fantastic breakdowns, so we'll see you then. So the episode ends with Elgin escorting Fatima into this cellar, the same cellar where we saw the body and the spirit. Now, as she goes down into it, she realises that this could be a trap and tries to escape. And Elgin brings out his dark side to literally drag her back in. Of course, this leaves us with questions. What does this mean? And what did Elgin mean by it not being Fatima's baby? I think it's fair to say we can presume that the spirit is the mother of the child to some degree, or potentially the body on the floor was, and that Elgin lured her into the cellar with a full supply of fresh blood to help nourish this little demon baby. But why? Does this coincide with the earlier mention that the kids were born in the dark and murdered in the dark, meaning that this baby is about to follow in the same fate and actually be sacrificed, which we will touch on that little point in just a moment with the flow of time. But clearly Fatima is going to be stuck here for a while, which may have been what happened to the last person who went there. Will Boyd find her, or will Elgin's magic camera tell him to do something else? The one little thing I wanted to mention on this cellar too, I speculated last week the wood could have been made from that of a faraway tree, but if you look at the scenes a little bit closer, it does look like there might be roots coming down from the walls. Could this cellar have roots leading to it from a faraway tree? Could this have been the location of the original faraway tree? Could this cellar be on top of the tunnels? As, when Jade sees the roots back in season 2, the light he sees from them is a vision, so clearly that place is far underground now. Let me know your thoughts on this. No matter what, this cellar clearly has some greater meaning. Now, it was absolutely great to see the return of Martin, someone who Ben thinks is calling the shots, and still does now, but before we touch on his return, could that body in the cellar be Martin? Which is why he's able to keep reappearing, because his mind is trapped within the other dimension. Now in this episode we did finally confirm something, and this thing has been driving me mad since it happened, and that is, who threw the rope? Well, it turns out it was Julie. But this opens up now the question of time. We have said before that time is involved, and not direct time travel as we previously mentioned. The time involved seems to stem around the past, present and future, happening simultaneously. And it also seems that when people enter faraway trees, or these alternate realities like Julie did, that time flows differently, meaning they can both affect the past and the future at the same time. And obviously, we saw Julie throw the rope, which is altering the past in her current timeline, but yet, at the time for Boyd, it was his present, which then brings us on to the final scene, where she was hearing the kids through the caves. This seems to suggest that she was going back into the past when it all first happened, and when these children were sacrificed. But what if she was actually glimpsing into the future, and that Fatima's baby is amongst those children that were born in the dark and about to be murdered in the dark too? And this is where they all stem together to put their hope into the roots that form the symbol, as Victor said. Which is a lot like I've mentioned before about being in Pandora's box, that this hope is deep rooted within everything. And it was also revealed by Victor that Jasper was not having a conversation with Christopher, but he was in fact talking with the boy in white, and that the boy in white was telling him to go through the tree in order to save the children. And as a result, Victor went and told his mom, which is why she entered the tree. Now, a quick thought here is that, what if the boy in white was telling Christopher not to go into the tree to save the children? But again, as we've stated before, being the evil entity was telling Christopher to go through the tree to maybe suffer the same fate that Dale did a couple of episodes ago. And if you recall in the last season, Jade actually saw Jasper too. Meaning, did he actually see Jasper? Or was this a representation of the boy in white? Again, seeing Jade as this almost father figure, like he did with Christopher. Meaning that actually, it's not a series of moms that need to save the children, but a series of fathers or a father figure just like the title song suggests. They've answered the rope, they've answered the symbol being hope, they've answered the fact that freedom points towards a father figure, which is why Boyd is harassed a lot, similar to Jim, as they both have children in the town. They've even answered the fact that Fatima is having a baby, but when Victor recalled his conversation with Christopher, what if the boy in white was lying, and actually told Christopher about the symbols being hope as a facade, meaning that he wants someone to dig deeper to release all the evil into the world. Now, there was a throwaway line in this episode that got me thinking. Victor mentions he could never find Eloise, no matter how hard he looked. This was during their games of hide and seek. So, what if this is foreshadowing of future events? I'm going to assume she made it to a faraway tree for the basis of my theory. Now, obviously, Victor mentions that the faraway trees can land you anywhere, but now we've clearly seen some kind of time manipulation. What if a tree can also land you to any when? So in theory, could Eloise be alive and has yet to pop back up in the time we are in? Could we be seeing her in a future episode? As I fully expect Julie to continue her investigation now. Maybe she stumbles upon her. What do you think? Is Eloise still basically hiding and time has yet to catch up to her for her re-immersion? One final theory stemming off the back of time travel, and it's around our good friend Martin. Now, we've asked the question many times who he is, and clearly he's not anyone from Victor's timeline, and this dude looks incredibly old. I have speculated the body in the cellar could be him, but now I'm starting to think that maybe Martin is from a future timeline, hence why he knows who Boyd and Julie are. It would make perfect sense, especially as those vision places are clearly outside of the normal flow of time. I think we've gotten to the point where we need to stop asking where things are from and start asking when they are from. Now, as you can tell, we were a little unhappy with episodes 6 and 7 and the start of this episode, and I think I know why. Has the From series become impossible to answer? As every time we're given an answer to a question, 7 more questions pop up. Julie throwing Boyd the rope generates more questions than it solves. Finally, confirming the children were sacrificed for some reason, good or bad, still gives us more questions, like who are the children? I'm starting to wonder if we're getting to the point where a lot of the questions will remain unanswered. Let me know your thoughts on this. So, thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps us to grow and lets us know you like what we do here. And as we've mentioned, Solo will be starting this Friday, and we can't wait to get back into that series. So, as I hand it over to you now, let us know your thoughts on the following questions. Do you think the boy in white is pulling the strings? And what do you think will happen to Fatima and her baby? And, like Ben, do you think Martin holds more significance than just being a bloke chained up in a tower? Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll catch you next time with something new.